Welcome to the Life and Times podcast. Sit back, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the vibes, and thank you for checking us out.
All right, cool. Yeah. Michele, quickly before we start, I want to know what's the most unique cake design you've ever had requested. Not that you did it, but
Okay.
requested.
I would say the most unique and difficult, aside from the
Mm-hmm.
show, I actually did do it, was the White Hall cake for Bethune-Cookman. So it was the replica of one of the famous buildings on the
Oh,
campus.
nice.
And that was pretty unique because I had to make sure all the windows, like the exact amount of windows, and that the brick looked like brick. So it wasn't crazy, but it was difficult to replicate, I would say.
How did you go about designing that?
I looked at pictures, I printed off a lot, and of course I went
Right,
there,
right.
I've seen it in person a lot. So I just use that as like a point of reference and tried to get every detail as close as possible but make it edible. It took the first time I made it, it took me about 4 or 5 days
Okay.
because I had to stop and come back to it, and it's like, no, this isn't right. The awnings aren't right. And then someone else saw it and they requested it again. So the
Oh,
second time was
wow.
a lot faster. I was able to do it in 2 days the second time. But
Nice.
that's probably the most difficult. I don't know. It's not really crazy. Now, I've had some very interesting requests,
Okay.
but sometimes I just say, that's not for me. I
Right,
don't
right,
make.
right. Exactly, exactly. I always wonder
Yeah,
how
I
that
have.
always wonder how that works because you'll have people with the craziest ideas and you're like, yeah, that's I really don't want to make a cake into that.
I don't.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
don't. And I try to still. When I started, I made a lot of like baby shower cakes that are like the baby
Hmm.
bumps, but people tend to think it's gross to cut cake that looks like a
Ah,
person or body parts.
okay.
So I don't make a lot of body part cakes. So I haven't had anything like crazy in that regard. I had people ask,
Right.
now that I've done this for so long, a lot of times people have in their mind what they want, but it doesn't necessarily match their budget.
Mm,
So once we start talking, time and detail and what that requires, people typically change their mind.
got you. Got you. That's cool.
Yeah.
Word. All right, listeners, welcome back to another episode of the Life and Times Pod,
Yeah.
which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast. I'm Adrian. You already know it's no BS coming from me. And for episode 18, we are joined by the wonderful, intelligent, very talented Michele. What's happening, Michele?
Hi. Hello. Hey, y'all.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. We're all family here. Michele, let the people know where can they find you and your work, most importantly.
Okay, awesome. My name is Michele Holmes. I am a cake artist, entrepreneur, and educator. My primary business is Sky Confections, right here on my
There
shirt.
we go.
I am on Instagram, Facebook. I have a TikTok. I need to do better about that, and Twitter. But you can find me on my website or any social media. I'd love for you to follow me. Again, that's Sky Confections, Sky with an E. And I create edible cake art.
Nice, nice. And how long have you been doing this at this point, Michele?
I started as a hobby in 2010
Okay.
and I actually made my business official in 2015.
Nice, nice. Okay. That's
Yeah.
what's up. That's what's up. She's very talented, y'all. She does ship to you, so don't feel if you're outside of Atlanta that you
Yeah.
can't do business with the homie. So reach out to her, check
Right.
her out. All right, Michele, we always start off the podcast with something that I joke around and I say all of us in hospitality, one form or another, we're really good at, and that's drinking. Mostly,
Mm-hmm.
mostly, mostly alcohol. But today I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing alcohol, and I think you're not doing alcohol. So let the
No.
people know what are you drinking today.
Today I am drinking water. It's water and I have mint and cucumber in
Okay,
it. I'm trying to do better.
okay.
So today's water. Water only.
Nice, nice. Stay hydrated, everyone. And for me
Hmm.
today, I have a French press coffee. It's
Mm.
delicious.
Okay.
So I've been trying to cut down on alcohol because the football season is just now starting up, and I know,
Ah, you gotta save
yeah,
up.
I know whatever good that I'm doing, it's just gonna go out the window come
You're gonna wipe
Saturday.
it out. Yeah. Yeah.
First tailgate is on and popping. So I already know.
That's good. You gotta balance it. So
Trying to.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Also, I always like to toast to the guests. So Michele, to
Okay.
you. We've known each
Thank
other
you.
for quite some time. It's
Yes.
always good. It's always good to see former classmates doing big things, in whatever venue or arena. So you're a business owner, you're a thriving business owner. You enjoy what you're doing, and
I
you
do.
you fully you fully represent Redan. And
Thank
I
you.
like to one day be there and one day be able to inspire others to do the same thing. So that's my toast to
You're
you.
doing it.
I'm
You're
trying.
doing
I'm
it.
trying. I'm
So
trying.
cheers to
Yeah,
us.
cheers to us.
Yeah.
Cheers to the
Adulting.
listeners. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so salute to you, salute to the listeners. Thank you all again for checking us out. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, all this is a casual conversation with some interesting people that either I've met in hospitality or in one form or another they've worked in hospitality. So look us
Hmm.
up at Suplex Dinner Club. That's the home of this podcast, as well as a college football podcast that I do twice a week now because
A
is the
season.
season is here. And y'all know
It's
I'm
here,
locked in.
yes.
If you know me, I'm locked in. So all right, cool. So, Michele, next we set the table. I always ask the guest a couple questions so that
Okay.
our listeners can get a better idea of who you are, what makes you tick. So, first question: growing up, what was your perception of hospitality workers?
Hmm. Well, when I was very little, I always thought when I thought hospitality, I thought hotels and cleaning.
Mm,
Um, I don't know why, because we would go on family vacations and stuff. I didn't really think about
okay,
food. I never thought about food. I always thought about hotels, family trips,
right,
vacation, that kind of thing, as a child.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Next question: what was your first job in hospitality?
Um, Ironically, now I didn't realize when I was little, but my first job, period, was there was a game room on Panola
Okay,
in
okay.
Covington. I don't know if you remember this. There's a game room that was in that Ingles Plaza, like the shopping center where the movie
I
theater
remember
is.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the owner, I would go in, my dad would take me in and I would play all the time. So one day my dad, I was probably 5 years old, I think kindergarten. He said, "You should give her a job. We're in here spending money all the time." And the guy said, "Okay, what can she do?" And I said, "I can pick up trash." And he said, "Okay." So I would come in and pick up paper or trash off the floor and he would give me free tokens
Nice.
to play. So I think I was about 5 years old. That was my first job. I mean, off the books, but and now you look at it, it's like that was technically
That,
hospitality. You cleaning
yeah,
and
yeah.
serving. And and as older, I would say actually in a restaurant was at Stonecrest Mall. They had Winners Sports Bar and
Okay,
Grill that was by the AMC Theater.
okay,
So I think a college, like college breaks, I worked there until they closed. I was a
okay.
waitress. Um, Hated it.
You hate it.
Absolutely hated
Why?
it.
Why'd you hate it?
Hated
Why'd
it.
you hate it?
Um, it's just a lot that goes on, and that was my first time being exposed to that side of it. You go eat and you don't think about everything that's going on in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
what it takes to get your food to the table, the service. And I think it was also the area, so I never got good tips. um I think my biggest night was like I left with like $70
Really?
on a Friday or Saturday. It was awful
Oh
because of
man.
the location.
Yeah.
So people over there, they weren't tipping. It's a sports bar, so
Right.
people would come in and drink
Mm.
and watch games and stuff, but they really weren't. they didn't care about tipping, and we had to tip out to the bar. You tip
Mm-hmm.
out, and it's like I have to tip out all these people, and I leave with nothing. So
Mm.
I did not like that job at all,
Dang.
but I did
I
it.
feel that. I feel that. We all have our different experiences, like our first like serving job or whatever. And I mean, at first, I always liked it personally, just because at that point, at that point in my life, I know I was doing a lot of partying anyway. So I just looked.
So that's quick.
I just looked at it. Not only I looked at it like I was getting paid to party essentially,
hmm
and maybe that
You
was
get to interact. You get to,
yeah.
yeah.
But also, that was kind of the vibe of that restaurant. Like,
Where were you?
well,
Do you remember?
my first serving and bartending job was at an Applebee's, and I
Okay.
was in Noonan, Georgia, because
Okay.
I got hired. It was my first break from Tuskegee, and my mom was like, you got to go get a job.
You got to
Yeah,
work.
you got to go get a
Uh-huh.
job. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll go do it.
hmm
Whatever, rock and roll. Because she knew she was like, all you're trying to do is go out and drink beer and all that stuff, which was true, but
So you take your tip money.
exactly. So I would work there, and then when I went back to Tuskegee, I transferred um, my employment to the Auburn location, and I was there at Auburn,
Okay.
and same old thing, even crazier. So basically, half of my tip money
That's
was
cool.
going toward uh, beverage and all of that stuff.
Food and libations. Yes.
Exactly. So, all right,
Yeah.
last question for you. Do you feel that everyone should have at least one job in hospitality, and more importantly, why?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think so. Um, I did not like that job, but it made me have a greater appreciation for people who work in the
Mm,
industry. And now when I go out to eat, we tip well because we know what it is to be a server. I've served and I know what it is to not get a
right.
tip, knowing I did my best. Or the kitchen is slow, something happened that was out of my control, and the customer is taking it out on me. I
Exactly.
know what that feels
Hmm.
like, so I have a little bit more grace when I go out to eat. And you ask people, you have communication, or you communicate with the servers. They may be in college, trying to support a family,
Hmm.
and you know that they're not making a lot from whatever that business is. So, you don't take it for granted. And so I do think when you had an opportunity to work in the industry, you have a greater respect for other
Hmm.
people. You appreciate it. You're a little bit more kind. Even when I go to hotels, I've been in some nice hotels where they may have forgotten to clean my bedding or flip the sheets, or the towels might be dirty. I unfold them and it's dirty. And instead of flying off the handle or being, the way you really could be,
Right.
you have a greater understanding. And maybe it wasn't that person that I'm getting ready to jump onto. Maybe it was somebody else, or maybe it's out of their control. So you operate with a little bit more grace. So I
Definitely.
think everybody should have an opportunity, or should at least have one job in the industry. Yeah.
Definitely. You definitely
hmm
learn the value of empathy working in a
Yeah.
restaurant, no matter what kind of restaurant, whatever you're doing, you learn that, like you said, I mean, your first job as a server, you didn't really take into account all of the factors that go around to
Mm-mm.
actually make that food and present that to the customer. So you have a
Right.
better
In a
appreciation.
timely manner.
Exactly.
It got to be in a timely manner. The food has to be good, and warm or cold, whatever it's supposed to be. And so much can happen. And the drinks, same with the drinks. If you walk in drinks from the bar, if you leave them up there too long, they're watered down by the time it gets to a customer, and they're upset. And it's just a lot. It's a lot, and I think it's necessary. I don't necessarily want my daughter to serve.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. We'll see. It depends on the restaurant.
Hmm.
But I do think there's a place for her to work in the industry at some point so that she can learn it.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. All right, so let's get into the main topic today. So
Okay.
listeners, a little background. Uh, we have a TV star amongst us. So yes, be honored. Michelle, can you tell us what you've graced our TV screens with.
I had the pleasure and opportunity to compete on Food Network
Nice,
last year. So it was the Big Bake. Is the show is called the Big Bake, but it was a Halloween themed episode.
nice,
So season three, the Big Bake. My team, the Brown Sugar Babes, competed.
nice, nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Does I'm sure your mom has that like on DVR, or she has that
I think
she
she
has that
does.
ready. Like if you walk into her home,
Yeah.
she's like, have you seen
Let me
that
show you
episode
this.
yet?
Right, right. It's on her phone. My daughters are super proud. They
Nice.
like to tell their
As they
friends.
should, as they should.
Yeah, I did it. That was part of the reason I did it was for them. But we didn't win, but it was a great
I
opportunity.
mean, it
So
was like you said,
I enjoyed it.
great opportunity and more
Hmm.
eyes to what you have going on, more eyes to your personality. And, you know, when it's said and done, people like to do business with people they like. So,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you have that opportunity to show your personality and, your energy, which is a positive one. I know that for firsthand experience. That you're
yeah,
like, man, I want to check her out. Let me follow her on
yeah.
Instagram, and then once a job pops up, I'm gonna hit her up. Like,
They
yo,
think of that's right.
exactly,
Yep,
exactly,
yep. So it's been a blessing. I'm glad I did it.
nice,
I'm glad I did it. But I know you have questions,
yeah,
so.
yeah. All right, so before we even talk about your experience, I want to talk about it. Like, uh, cooking competitions have been
Hmm.
very big on television for, I would say, the past 20 years. I remember
Yeah.
Kitchen Nightmares. I remember being in high school watching Kitchen Nightmares and loving it. And watching Top Chef. That's like my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been my favorite cooking competition show. So, were you a fan of those shows coming up, or what was your first experience with those?
Um, I've seen them.
Okay.
I always laugh at the kitchen ones because although I cook,
Mm-hmm.
people forget they always look and think I just do cakes. I do cook,
Right.
for my family and I would never go on a show. And I've seen them, I watch them, more lately, I guess it's been Nailed It, like on
Yeah, yeah.
Netflix and these shows, because I have children too, so they watch these competition shows and some of the big names in the industry, like Buddy Valastro, and you see how they build their
Mm-hmm.
business, and I'm like, yeah, I would never do that. I mean, I was a teacher. I didn't say that, but I taught for 10 years primarily before transitioning into a full-time entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
and my students in elementary school I would bring them cakes for different seasons just because I'm that
Right,
teacher
right.
and they loved it. It's Halloween, she's bringing a pumpkin and it's a cake. Um, but they always say, you should go on a show, you should go on a show. And I would watch these shows and see how, in some instances, it looked like the competitors were being torn down
Mm.
or talked to. And I had no desire to be a part of that because I know my mouth.
Mm.
So, y'all gonna have to cut the
That
cameras because I'm
see
out. I'm
that would
done.
have
We're
that would
done.
have
It's a
made good
wrap.
TV. See, that would have made.
Yeah, but I would have been sent home real fast. So, but I'm talking younger me,
Right,
and it over time you have to build up
for sure.
confidence to be able to step outside of your comfort zone. So I watched the shows, but I was like, I'm not going on there.
Mm.
Nope. And my students, you should go, you should go. No, no, thank you. No. I'm good. So, pandemic hit,
Mm-hmm.
and that was where I think a lot of people's mindset shifts because I'm not saying I took life for granted, but sometimes you take the gift for
For
granted,
sure.
right? Like you have these gifts and I can keep it to myself and just work with my customers, or I can step out of my comfort zone and show people that it's okay to try new things
Definitely.
and it's okay to put yourself out there, and I'm in control of how I respond. So just because they say that, I have to remember this is TV. They're going to do what they need to get for their ratings or whatever, but that doesn't mean you have to push me outside of my character. And that's how I approached it
Mm.
in my first competition. I mean, I was doing cakes in 2010. I did not compete until 2019. No, 2021, 2020. Let's see, pandemic
Mm-hmm.
2021.
2020,
Yeah,
2021.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
21, like first time competing, I believe. So that's crazy. I can't remember the exact year, but it's been 2 years, two
Okay.
years. So 21, I competed and actually won first place in a
Nice.
wedding competition here at Cobb Galleria.
Okay.
They had, the whole cake
Right.
fair or cake show. And let me correct that because cake fair is another event. It's a cake show.
Okay.
and and I was like, what do I have to lose? And I entered and actually won first place. And weddings, because we've taught weddings
Mm-hmm.
are not really what I specialize in. I
Mm-hmm.
will do wedding cakes, but I like fun weddings. I like things that are
Right.
different. I will do traditional cakes, but because I create a lot of different things, typically my bride and grooms they like stuff that's
For
different,
sure.
and they like, to even pull in, whatever their hobbies are or whatever. So it's a non-traditional cake typically is what I specialize in.
Right.
So um to do a wedding category and win was huge, but it boosted my confidence. Like, wow, I put myself out there
For
and
sure.
I just thought I was going to do it for fun, and I ended up winning first place
Nice.
in the category. And from there, there were some people from Food Network, some people who've competed that were there, and they were looking, they were watching, and just by putting myself out there in that situation, I opened up a whole nother door.
Nice.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's how that started.
So
Sorry if I'm
no,
rambling.
you're not rambling. We actually want to hear it. I want to. That's what I was gonna ask. Like, what was the next step, and how did you even get connected with Food Network? So they reached out
Mhm.
to you for.
Well, they reached, so yes and no. Like, once you put yourself out
Mm-hmm.
there and, I post videos of how I make things. Sometimes I'll do quick tutorials on, people can see me create what looks real, like realistic
Mm-hmm.
items. And now they figure out, oh, it's made of sugar or cake. By hashtagging and doing that, the right people start to see it. So I've had casting. What happens is there's casting directors and agencies that search the internet constantly. And I had been reached out to before the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic a couple of times, but I'd never competed. I just think I just hadn't put myself out there enough. So when it came time to interview, I had no experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have my own experience, but they're like, have you competed? Have you done this? And so as they elevate, or I guess go through and filter out people.
Mm-hmm.
I had the personality, but I didn't necessarily have the
Right.
experience. So I like to think it just wasn't my time.
Mm-hmm.
Post pandemic, once they saw, oh, she competes, because it's a whole nother category of people for competing. If you look at the chef shows, they're like some of the same people start to pop up, and then you start to see the same judges kind of
Right.
circulated. And some people are addicted to
I
competition.
believe
I
it.
learned
Yeah,
that.
I believe it. Yeah, yeah,
They are
definitely.
addicted to so they I was reached out to by a casting director, but my teammate on the show was also contacted, and I did not know her. I hadn't met her at all. I mean, we only knew each other through Instagram,
Gotcha.
and she lives here. She's actually a Spelman
Oh,
grad.
nice.
And we just knew each other as, fellow business
Right.
owners, Black female entrepreneur, but we never met in person. And she's competed. She had competed nationally on Food Network,
Nice.
and the other teammate had also competed. So they done a show before, and they needed a teammate. So I was the first person that came to mind, and they reached out to me, and of course I was willing to try it. Three Black women entrepreneurs and doing our own
Hell
thing
yeah.
individually, but we connected through social media. Like, we never met each other until we got on a plane to go compete with Food Network, which was
Oh,
crazy.
that's crazy.
But
That's crazy, but that's awesome. That
yeah.
when you can build these kind of social circles, people that you've never met face to
Hmm.
face, and know them for years or know of them for years, and then
Right.
y'all pop up on each other. So that's awesome. How
Yeah.
how long was that? How long was the recording process
The film,
or the
well,
filming
from notification or just like when you were
when
there?
you're there when you touch down? Because
Okay.
you went to Toronto, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. This particular show filmed in Toronto, Canada, in February
nice.
when it was super cold. So we filmed a Halloween episode in
Yeah, yeah.
February.
That's how it
And
works.
it was like blizzard, snowstorm situation. And it was quick, but because of COVID,
Mm,
we had to isolate. so COVID kind of threw, I think even the season before us, or I guess several episodes before us filmed, they had to stay isolated even longer. But for us, I believe it was 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're there and they keep you in separate
Mm-hmm.
rooms and you have to submit a COVID test every
Mm-hmm.
day, a negative COVID test. And if anyone from the episode tests positive, they send everybody home.
Dang.
So yeah, so they tell you you can come, you can go, because I remember my teammates like, oh, let's go see Niagara Falls
Right.
and this and that. And I've been before, so I'm like, no, that's not why I'm here.
Right.
I'm gonna stay right in this room because I'm not trying to go home because somebody's sick, you know. So and they make you test. You have to present everything when you get there, and you isolate, and then maybe it was 3 or 4 days because I feel like we came on like a Thursday and I filmed on the next Tuesday or something, and then went home on that Wednesday. Yeah, it was about a week. So it was different. It was cool because of course I'm getting away from my family and I get a break from mommy.
Right.
But my mind was stressed because it's you don't know. It's unknown to know, okay.
Especially at that time.
I'm counting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, counting down. It's cold, it's COVID, and this is new territory. So you asked me about the hospitality industry, but what I forgot to say is I've never worked in a commercial kitchen.
I didn't know that.
No, I was a server, but that's more, I'm not gonna say front of house, but you're back in the kitchen, but you're not cooking on the line or preparing food. My grandmother owned a restaurant here in Atlanta, and I have an uncle who owned 2 restaurants here. He's a radio personality, and so I've been around the soul food restaurant and R&B type industry, but never as an employee or as the chef or a baker, right? I never worked for a food chain like a Publix. No commercial kitchen experience whatsoever. So everything I've learned has been in my home kitchen. So you pick me up and put me on a TV show and they walk you in and it's all commercial equipment. Commercial ovens, everything, which I've seen, but it's totally different when you
never
show
even
up
worked with that stuff prior to.
No.
Wow.
No.
That's
No. So when you watch the show, the first time I ever touched any of that stuff was
the first time
when they said, you have 5 hours.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. But that's a dope experience too, because it's a whole different world working in a commercial kitchen versus a home kitchen, Yeah, that's
totally different because this is my own space. I know where everything is. And they show you, but now you're on a clock to find it, use it, and use it properly. And thankfully, both of my teammates competed, so I was able to kind of get some prep. And making sure, okay, we have a thermometer for the oven, and it's a convection, it's a different oven. It's not the same as your gas stove at home. It bakes things faster. You have to watch it in the freezers, so it was a lot. It was just very overwhelming, honestly. But hey, I was like, let's go. I'm rolling with it. Let's get it.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope. How was your interactions with your competitors, like off camera?
Everybody was good. Cool? Everybody was nice. That's what I will say. This was a great first experience for me to get my, kind of dip my toe into competing, because some shows I feel like what I know now I've met more people who do this. Some of the shows do set you up for drama or to fail.
That's what I wanted to ask. I'm sure when it comes to the drama or the bad guy or the villain of the season, it's always that's
or the weak link. Or, yes, there is an angle. Because it's Toronto, there was a different filming crew. There's Food Network Canada and there's Food Network US. I've never experienced US, so I can only talk on what I've heard, not what I've been through. But I can say for Canada, they were super nice. I felt like they wanted us to be successful. They tell you the thing. They tell you, hey, this is the time. If you need help finding equipment, it wasn't, we're starting a clock and you're on your own. But there are some things that, are out of our control. So I do think they're going to also they're going to zoom in. I was told ahead of time, whatever you do not start crying. Because if you watch any of these shows, if a person even lets a teardrop fall.
That's the hook.
That means you're going home.
the camera is
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not a person that cries anyway, but I mean it can be frustrating and overwhelming. So that was
Definitely.
some tips. That was one of the big one. They were like, "Don't do it," because one of my teammates I think filmed before, and she tried to go down under the counter
Mm.
and let it out. And when she came up, the camera was like right
Waiting
there,
for
waiting for her to come up. Yeah, if you run to the bathroom, they're at the bathroom.
you'll be on the
Yeah.
commercial. You'll be the promo for the season.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
like come watch this so you can see Michelle cry. Like that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Not happening. Not happening.
Man, that's dope. That's cool. That's cool. Well, do you have any advice for anyone who wants to do a cooking competition?
I would say do it, try it. Keep an open mind, do your research before you just say yes. See if you can find someone else who's been on whatever network it is,
Mm-hmm.
because they're all different. The location that they filmed is different. You have to take all that into mind, but don't say no. I've been approached a couple more times since I've gone, and I have said no. And my husband is like, "Why are you saying no?" And for me, it's a mindset thing, and the timing matters because I sacrificed to film previously. Sometimes it may not be a convenient time where you end up missing birthday, holiday, whatever. And in this season, I'm not in the mood to miss a lot of important things this fall, but keep an open mind. I say try it. Everybody who is interested, you should do it once. If you feel like you have a gift and you just, even if you just want the experience. I know people who, unfortunately, they've never won.
Mm.
I mean, when I competed, I was one of the teams. Had a young lady. I think she'd been on like 6 or 7 shows, and she's never
Wow.
won. And then the team that won, they'd done 9. I think he's won 9 times.
Dang.
So it wasn't necessarily like the way they paired us was kind of odd because I don't know. I'm not gonna say we weren't on the same level, but you have someone who's won every show he's been on with someone who hasn't, and we're kind of in the middle. Um, but that doesn't mean you stop
Heck
trying.
no.
So if you're interested, try. If you have a desire to put yourself out there, do it. Do it.
Definitely. Definitely.
Absolutely.
And it's just like your first competition there at Cop Galleria. Like you had no experience. You
Right.
just took a shot. You were like, hey, I'm here to have fun. I'm here to compete. Because I know you're a
Mm-hmm.
competitive person because I went to high school with you. I know you. I know
A
you.
little bit, just a
Yeah,
little.
just a little. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, yo, I'm here to have fun. I'm here to compete, rock and roll, and you mess around and win. So why
Yeah.
not? Just do it. Just take your shot,
And let
man.
me say this, for also a lot of times we have ideas that come to us and we talk ourselves out of it.
Definitely.
And God, I'm gonna be honest, that the cake that I won, that idea came to me when I was asleep.
Really.
I was like, oh, this would be dope. And I jumped up out of my sleep and started sketching this cake. And I'm like, they're not gonna get it. Nobody's gonna get it. I don't care. I'm doing it. And I just stuck with it. And that's how you have to be with different things. So no matter what industry, I mean hospitality, but no matter where you are in the industry, when you have a dope idea, whether it's a food idea, whether it's a design, whatever it is, see it through because it was given to you for a reason. And I never forget that. I woke up and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be good." And I did it, and I saw it through no matter what. So that's what you have to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's one of the things that most of us do struggle with is we have these great ideas. We have these spurts of creativity, but the one thing that's in our actual way of getting it done and seeing it through is ourselves. So
It
that's
is.
awesome
Yep.
advice. That's
Yep.
awesome advice. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You're like the third person I know to be on a cooking competition show or culinary competition show because shout out to the homie Tiffany who was a judge on did you see that
Oh,
Netflix bartending competition? Like craft
no, I
cocktail?
need to go watch it.
Look it up. It's
Oh, wait,
dope.
yes, I've seen it advertised. I
Yeah.
haven't watched the show.
Look it up. It's dope because one of the homies and hopeful one of the next guests, Tiffany, very talented bartender. I mean, hell, she's more than a bartender at this point. She's like a
Yeah.
giant in the industry right now. She was one of the judges, so Yeah.
Okay. That's
As soon as
cool.
she told me she was in it, I was like, I'm watching it, thinking that I'm
Now I gotta go
yeah, I'm
watch.
thinking that she's
Yeah.
competing, but no, she was like one of the final judges, and all of the
Wow.
competitors like they went crazy when they saw her. So I was like, "Dang, Tiffany, I didn't know you were."
Is she
Yeah,
local?
she's here in Atlanta.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
get you her information. Very
Yeah, that's dope.
very talented person and a great person too. So all right, cool. So the next thing we do in the podcast, Michelle, I bring you a question from last week's guest.
Okay.
You gotta answer it.
Should I be nervous?
No.
Okay.
Eric
Okay.
took good care of you. Listeners, last episode was with the homie Eric. He's a really great guy, one of my good friends. And his question for you, Michelle, is okay, here's the scenario. You are stuck on a deserted island, and it's
Okay.
guaranteed you will be there for the remainder of your days. Just you.
Oh wow. Okay.
The question is, what three items, what three items uh do you have to have with you?
Oh, like naked and afraid. Um,
Basically,
they let me see. They always have. Wait, is food? Is that considered? Is that count
he
as an
he
item?
didn't give me any parameters. I just give
Mm,
you the question and you go
okay.
with it.
All right. I need clean water
Okay,
because I can cook with it. I can bathe with it. I can drink
true.
it. Um, I have to have a comfortable place to sleep. I'm not sleeping on the
Got
ground.
you.
Leaves and all of that is not gonna fly. And I need food.
Okay,
I can make some clothes. I feel like I can probably figure out how to sew some leaves or something together.
definitely.
Oh, wait. No, I need fire.
There we go.
Oh, this is
There we
tough.
go.
This is tough because I can't cook what I'm cooking with. I guess I can make fire, but a fire starter would be nice. So on the show, they always have like a fire
Mm-hmm.
starter. They always have the filter for water.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody usually has like a spear or a knife or something to
Some
catch or
weapon. Yeah,
cook or
exactly.
yeah. So I guess I need that. I don't want to sleep on the ground. That's hard. That's hard. I
So
gotta give up.
you're gonna sacrifice the spear for like a Casper king size mattress or something.
No, no, because animals are out there. I need to be able to defend myself.
This
So I do need a weapon.
okay. So
I
what?
have to have a weapon.
Okay.
I need a weapon. Um, fire.
Okay.
Because I need to be able to cook and clean. I guess I can boil the water. So, weapon, fire. Oh, shoot. Dang. That's tough, Adrian. Golly. Dang, I couldn't get four. Okay, weapon, fire, and I really do want a bed or some
Hey
kind of
man, get your
bedding.
bed, man. Get your.
I
You're
need
gonna be
somewhere to
there.
sleep. I gotta
You're
just.
gonna be there for the rest of your days. You get.
Yeah, I need shelter. Let's just call it
Okay.
shelter.
Okay. I
Shelter.
like that.
Because that covers like if it rains. So the shelter
Okay.
space.
I like
Yes.
that. Okay. So we're going weapon.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Fire and shelter.
Fire.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Cool. All right. All right. So Eric, that's the answer to your question. Michelle, what's your question for next week's guest?
Man, I wasn't that deep.
Don't
Wow.
be deep. I mean,
Um, so I was only gonna say like if you had a choice for the rest of your life to serve or be served,
that's a
what would you
that's a perfect
choose? Would you
question.
choose to be the person that serves or the person that is served?
Mm,
Servant,
okay.
you had to choose.
Hey, I like it. I want to see what next week's guest has to say about that.
Yeah. And my funny ones, like I had pulled out some cards, like some game cards, but he went deep, so I was like, I'll put those to the side.
Okay, I like that. I like that. And then lastly, we always like to add two songs each to the Life and Times playlist. Listen,
Uh-huh.
listeners, look it up on Spotify. The Life and Times playlist is a curation of great songs, vibes, moods, some bops, curated by the host Adrian and our weekly guests. So,
Mm,
Michelle,
love it.
what two songs are you adding to the playlist?
Oh, now I wish I had got the artist name. It's in my phone. Um, so mine are two opposites,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
y'all don't judge
yeah,
me.
no doubt.
Okay. First it would be Maverick City Music and Kirk
Okay,
Franklin's Bless Me.
okay,
Bless Me
okay,
is on heavy rotation for me
gotcha.
right now. Love that song. The opposite is my hype song with my youngest daughter right now is I Look Good. So on my mama, on my
Oh
hood,
yeah, yeah,
I look
yeah,
fly,
yeah. Right,
I
right,
look
right, right.
good. The original, not this new one, the new, but the original.
Okay.
I can't think of the guy's name, so I'll give it to you after.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, I can't think of his name, but that's on rotation
Now, is the
for me.
original did that come out while we were outside like that? That
Yeah,
song. Okay,
yeah,
I know exactly
yeah,
what you're talking about. Of course.
yeah.
I didn't
It's no cursing. It's clean,
I
but
didn't know it was a new version of that.
well, I can't think of her name, but they took a piece of it, sampled it, and they have a new song.
Got you. Got you. They're good for
Mm-hmm.
that now.
R&B version.
Okay.
Can I add a third, like a
Yeah,
bonus?
do it. Do
No,
it.
you probably already have
No,
it
do it.
because I feel like Tennessee whiskey. That one,
I
I
haven't
love
gotten
that.
that one yet.
Okay. So, but the KeKe Wyatt version of Tennessee whiskey
KeKe Wyatt.
is,
Okay. I gotta write that down. Because I didn't know
hmm
she had a version of that.
yes, she covered it, and I love it better than the original.
I mean, we always make things better, so that actually makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, my two songs. My two songs.
Okay, what's your two?
First song from an artist, Duckwrth. Have you ever heard of him?
Give me,
Okay,
no,
so
not off the top of my
okay,
head.
so Duckworth, very talented artist. The song that I'm contributing is called Super Bounce. So
Okay.
it's a nice little vibe. It's a good little weekend music. Like you're at a lounge type. We're
Hmm.
chilling, having fun at the same point. Really cool, smooth song. I love that song. The second song that I'm adding is from JPEGMAFIA and Danny Brown. Um, most of the listeners, most of the people who know me know that I love both of those guys, and them
Okay.
combining forces is like a super team, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this comes from their latest release called Scaring the Hose DLC pack. And yes,
Okay.
that's the energy that's there. They're just putting out whatever music, and they're like, "Oh
I
man,
love it.
don't play that music at the party because it's scaring the whole." You know that's the joke. But the song is actually called "Tell Me Where to Go." It's very soulful. They sample Al Green on the hook,
Hmm.
and I
Okay.
mean, and Danny Brown, even though he's super strange and bizarre as a rapper, he kind of gets introspective about a relationship, a failed relationship, and it's like one of the most serious recent Danny Brown songs I've ever had listened to.
Okay.
So I love it. Tell Me Where to Go by JPEG Mafia, Danny Brown. So those are the
I love
songs.
it. So where can I get this list?
Um, Good question. Exclusively on Spotify. You look it up, the
Okay.
Life and Times playlist. It's a good amount of songs at this point, and it's from everywhere. Like last week's guest, he added Taylor Swift to the playlist.
Oh,
It's songs from every culture, and it's a whole bunch of great songs on there.
across the genres.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just so
Love it.
something you can play when you're at the gym, or just you know walking around, or just chilling, or baking a cake. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
I do a lot of listening and watching shows. I'm gonna have to check out the bartending one for sure.
Yes, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. And shout out to
Hmm.
Tiffany. All right. So Michelle, we've reached the end of the podcast. How do you feel?
Cool. I feel relief.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay. You
No,
did
I
great.
feel good. Thank you.
Yeah, you did great.
Thank you for asking about my journey.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
definitely, definitely. And once again, Michelle, where can the people find you online?
You can find me on Sky Confections. That's SkyConfections. Skyconfections.com is my website. I'm on Instagram mostly, Facebook, Twitter. TikTok. I need to update Twitter and TikTok, but hit me up on Instagram. Follow me, Sky Confections.
Word. All right,
Yes.
cool. And listeners, if you haven't already, be sure to look us up. Suplex Dinner Club. That's the home of 2, soon to be 3 podcast projects that I'm working on. Mondays and now Fridays, because the season is on and popping. We talk college football on Dogs versus All Y'all, where we don't just talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. We talk about all things college football, hence All Y'all. And on Wednesdays, you know the vibes. It's the Life and Times Pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast. So look us up, share us with your friends. It's good conversations, fun times, and all that good stuff. So, Michele, I'm going to see you in a few weeks for our fundraiser. Do you want to tell the people about it or the project I'm at?
No, you can tell them.
Okay.
You can tell them.
All right. So our high school reunion is coming up, and Michele and I are committee members, and we've been organizing a service project which will help a number of the current students of our beloved Redan High School. And we've collected clothing items, suits, dresses, accessories, and all that stuff. And our goal is to help at least 40 students be dressed from head to toe, accessories included, for any of the kids whose families are a little bit in a bind when it comes to financially of being able to have them have some nice outfits for homecoming. So it's a small gesture on our end, but it goes a major long way in terms of confidence, because I mean, a lot of us, we didn't have everything we wanted growing up. And that puts you in a certain mind frame or mindset. And we want to attack that. We want those kids to feel absolutely supported and confident through these formidable years. So this is a small little gesture, but it goes a long way. If you want to help contribute, just hit me up or hit Michele up, and we can make it happen. So we did a great job at the drive. We've organized most of the stuff, and I'm still getting people reaching out asking, hey, can I donate this?
Can I donate?
Yeah.
Right.
And I got a couple.
Some people missed it.
Yeah, I got a couple prom dresses over the weekend. So, nice. I'm going to make sure that we get it added to our collection so that those kids have that opportunity to be dress fly for something as important to them as homecoming. So, yeah. All right.
I see you left off what class reunion?
Hey, man.
It's our 20th.
I ain't trying to age ourselves, but yeah, sure.
Listen, life is life, but it's okay. We still here. We look good. We're doing.
No doubt.
I'm grateful.
No doubt. So shout out to 03.
Yes.
All right, listeners, y'all have a wonderful week. We will see you in a few days. Take care of each other, and love each other. Love each other. Give each other energy, positive energy, and all that good stuff. All right. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Adrian.
Yeah, peace.
Bye.
Hold up. You know what it is. Yeah. Now listen. That's called my boy. You know nothing about that. Put him on the camera. Facts.